All right, another conference down. We have predicted every single game for every single team in the ACC. And now it is time, as always, to give you our ACC conference recap, breaking down the projected records and standings for every single team, our projected ACC championship, and who will win the conference in advance to the college football playoff. This conference, guys, is, I think, severely underrated. A lot of talent here. A lot of teams that could beat anybody on any given day. Sure, they've got their favorites. Sure, they're still, some would say, top heavy. But this is a deeper conference than people realize. So watch out SEC, watch out Big 10, watch out Big 12, which is wide open. The ACC going to be a lot of fun in 2025. Let's go ahead and dive on into it. Let's take a look at our standings. And of course, at the top, the usual suspects, Clemson, SMU, and Miami in our top three, all at 7-1 in conference play. I have been stating that I think Clemson is one of the best teams in the country, so it is no surprise to see them at the top of our standings. SMU right behind them, meaning that's our projected ACC championship, which we'll share our projected winner here in a little bit. But a rematch of last year's ACC title once again going to happen this year. The Tigers are loaded. Cade Klubnik, the best quarterback in the country in my eyes. His top three pass catchers, an elite defensive line. Sure, they've got some tough games on the slate. The season bookended with SEC opponents, LSU in Death Valley, and then on the road at South Carolina, with some tough games at Georgia Tech, SMU, at Louisville in there. But the Tigers will prevail. I really believe they're, again, one of the best teams in the country and a true national title contender. Same can be said for SMU. Kevin Jennings returns. That gives them a fighting chance in every game. They've got a really good offensive line and underrated defense, but you're going to learn a lot about this SMU team early in the season. Within the first 4 weeks, they played two really good Big 12 teams in Baylor and then on the road at TCU. So you look at that and you wonder, if SMU wants to get back to the college football playoff, they're going to face a little bit of a tougher schedule than they faced last year. Baylor, TCU, on the road at Clemson in the regular season. They do play Miami at home, so some tough games for the Mustangs. It's going to be interesting to see if they can get back, but I have a lot of faith in them, have a lot of faith in Rhett Lashley. Got them at 10-2 with just one conference loss. The same can be said for the Hurricanes. Exact same record as last year, 10-2 in the regular season. Will it be good enough this time to get them to the college football playoff after just missing out last year? They once again are loaded. I think Carson Beck's really going to pan out, assuming he comes back well enough from that injury. I love this defensive line for Miami. Everybody's talking about the loss of Cam Ward, the offensive weapon. Sure, they'll take a step back statistically, not as much as you think. They get to host Notre Dame, they get to host Florida, so that's going to tell you a lot about this team within the first 4 weeks of the season. On the road at Florida State, on the road at SMU, so some tough games in there, but Mario Cristobal will have this team in contention by season's end. So those are your top three. Right behind them, though, how about Georgia Tech? Georgia Tech really one upset away in our eyes for being in that top three, being in the mix for a conference title appearance, and maybe even being a playoff dark horse, because I believe that's what this team truly is. Georgia Tech is a dangerous, dangerous team. They get to host Clemson this year, so the Tigers need to watch out. They almost beat Georgia last year. Those two teams now meet at a neutral site in Atlanta. Overall, the Yellow Jackets have a very favorable schedule. So I really think if they can win a game against Clemson or Georgia, if they win one of those, they would have a serious case for the college football playoff sitting at 10-2. I really do believe that. So watch out for Brent Key's squad. I love this team. I love the talent they've got coming back. Haynes King, Jamal Haynes, some really good receivers, an underrated defense. Georgia Tech, to me, the real deal in 2025. Right behind them, Louisville at 9-3. Last year, some would say, was a disappointing season. 8-4, they win their bowl game, get a 9-win season, but all 4 of those losses coming by one possession, which is very heartbreaking. This year, they're hoping to win those close games, get themselves back in contention. Remember, they were in the ACC championship game just 2 years ago. Miller Moss comes in from USC at quarterback, a phenomenal pickup in my eyes. Isaac Brown was electric last year at running back. He should have an even bigger year this year. 8 starters back on defense, but some really tough road games for the Cardinals at Pittsburgh, at Miami, at Virginia Tech, at SMU, while also hosting Clemson in there as well. So that's great. They got home field advantage, but going to be a tough game. I don't think they're playoff caliber yet. I don't think they're ACC championship caliber yet, but still another really good year under Jeff Brom and a shot at a double-digit win season if they can win their bowl. Look at what we've got after that, though. We had Louisville at 5-3 in conference play, so I guess they're grouped into this. But 5 straight teams we have going 5-3 in conference play. And I think that just shows how competitive the ACC can be this year. All those teams just 2 games back from being at the top of the conference, 1 game back from being 4th. It's a pretty balanced and competitive league. And I think Rhett Lashley, after his comments at ACC Media Days, would agree with that. After Louisville, we've got Pittsburgh, and I really like this Panthers squad if they can stay healthy. A team that started 7-0 last year, but then lost their final 6 games, but a lot of that can be chalked up to, yeah, sure, a tougher schedule in the final 6 games, but also the fact that Eli Holstein couldn't stay healthy. He's a great quarterback when he's healthy. Desmond Reed's a phenomenal running back and a dangerous pass-catching back as well. 8 starters back on defense with an insanely good front 7, defensive line and linebacking core. So Pittsburgh, I think, can get off to a hot start again, but the final couple games of their schedule are really, really tough. They play, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. If they can find a way to win one of those, watch out. But those final couple games are going to be tough and could maybe derail, if you want to call it that, the season. And it could be even worse if they don't start strong. That's going to be the key, is take advantage of that weaker schedule early on. NC State, a bounce-back year for them, went 6-7 last year. But Dave Derwin, we mentioned that. He's had 3 losing seasons. Last year was one of them. The 2 prior to that, he followed it up with at least an 8-win season. And that's what we've got happening this year. 8-4 for the Wolfpack, who bring back C.J. Bailey, who bring back their top rusher, who bring back their top 2 pass catchers, and should reload on defense and be much better after a kind of a weird anomaly, a very uncharacteristic defensive year from the Wolfpack. So really like that NC State team, who just narrowly get above their in-state rival North Carolina, now led by Bill Belichick. This is a team that I'm really excited to watch this year, just for the Belichick factor. How well does he do in the college ranks? How quickly can he develop this talent? How quickly can he have this team in contention? Would love to see them compete for an ACC title. Don't think that's going to happen this year. A lot of unknowns, a lot of potential, but a lot of unknowns. They have a really favorable final part of the schedule, though. 5 of their final 7 games are against teams that finished with a losing record last year. So you could see North Carolina kind of maybe struggle out the gate. They open against TCU. That's a very tough game, but get really hot down the stretch. Something to watch out for later this year. But UNC and NC State both 8-4, 5-3. Florida State bouncing back. How about that? Their worst season since 1974. They went 2-10 last year. We've got them bouncing back with a 7-5 record. I know that's probably not going to be good enough for many fans out there, but considering how many new pieces they've got, considering what we saw, how bad, just horrendous Florida State was last year, 7-5 to me would be considered a success. You go back to the postseason, you clinch a winning record, chance at an 8-win season, a lot of momentum, and maybe 26 can be the year they get back into that playoff discussion, ACC title discussion. But, the Seminoles, with the talent they've got, do face a very tough schedule, which is going to make it hard to win 9, 10, 11 games like fans want. You open this year against Alabama, you play Miami, you have to go to Clemson, to NC State, to Florida. Way too many tough games for this team to be considered a true contender, but we do have them 7-5. Right behind them, Duke at 7-5. They went 9-4 last year, kind of exceeded expectations under Manny Diaz. Darian Mensah comes in now at quarterback, transferring in from Tulane, which is a phenomenal pickup. The Blue Devils have a very underrated defense too. Manny Diaz, that's his thing, right? He's a defensive-minded guy. Watch out for that Duke defensive line. They could be really dangerous in 2025. Our final 2 teams that go bowling within the ACC, Virginia Tech and Virginia, both at 6-6, both 3-5 in conference play. The funny thing is just the difference in expectations. 6-6 for Virginia Tech, probably viewed as a disappointment. 6-6 for Virginia, people are very excited because they're finally back in the postseason for the first time since 2021. That bowl game was canceled, so really the first time since 2019. So, same record. Virginia Tech upset probably by it. Virginia probably fairly happy with it. The Hokies had a very disappointing season last year, and I think that's why. Brent Pry really hasn't done a great job in Blacksburg. Last year was supposed to be the breakthrough season. They fell short. A lot of one-possession losses. This year, a lot of talent coming back, but a very difficult schedule that we have them just barely making the postseason. Virginia, arguably Tony Elliott's best team yet in Charlottesville, has a lot of talent. Chandler Morris transferring in at quarterback is going to be a huge boost for this offense. 8 starters back on defense. They should take advantage of a semi-favorable early part of the schedule to rack up enough wins to get to the postseason at 6-6. That means we have 5 teams just missing out, or completely missing out if you're Stanford, missing out on the postseason. Syracuse, after a 10-win season last year, we have dropping by 5 games, 10-3 to 5-7. And a major part of that is not just because they lost so much. I mean, when you lose Kyle McCord and you lose your 1,000-yard rusher and you lose your top pass catchers that all had at least 900 yards, you're going to take a step back. I think Steve Angeli was a good pickup, and I think he'll do well here. But even with some elite talent, even if Syracuse had the exact same roster this year that they had last year, I think it would be very hard for them to match last year's win total or even get close to it with a schedule that includes games against Tennessee at a neutral site, at Clemson, at SMU, at Georgia Tech, at Miami, and at Notre Dame. a very brutal schedule for Syracuse that even with Kyle McCord and those pass catchers, you look at those games there and wonder how many of them could they seriously have won. So, again, I'm a huge Fran Brown fan. I'm very excited for the future for Syracuse football. I think they'll be competitive. They just missed out on the postseason this year at 5-7, but I think they will be back in it in 2026. Boston College at 4-8, that's a rough year for them. They have not had an 8-win season since 2008. Certainly not going to happen this year because similar to Syracuse, the Eagles just face a very difficult schedule, especially in those final 5 games. Questions at quarterback, questions on the offensive line, questions on the front 7. Just seems like Bill O'Brien's squad's going to take a bit of a step back this year, but like Syracuse, could bounce back in a bigger way in 2026. California, Wake Forest, Stanford, all in for a world of hurt. California probably going to be the last year under Justin Wilcox, who again, saw his team just get gutted through the transfer portal. I mean, pretty much everybody gone from last year's squad. Maybe we see a miracle, kind of like an Indiana type thing where the new transfers coming in for California exceed expectations and Cal makes a bowl game and plays well and Justin Wilcox keeps his job. Not banking on that, though. They don't have an easy schedule. I'm not sold on Devin Brown at quarterback from Ohio State. Defense, yeah, has some talent there, but still a lot of questions. Just not going to be a good year for Cal. 3-9, lucky enough to get a conference win, though. Wake Forest and Stanford, we have both going winless in conference play. It's a rebuilding year, really, for both these teams. It's a rebuilding year for Wake Forest in year 1 under Jake Dickert. They've got some talent offensively. The defense is, maybe okay. Got 6 starters back there, but again, a pretty difficult schedule for the Demon Deacons that is going to look weird not having Dave Clawson on the sideline. So Jake Dickert comes in, has a rough year like most new head coaches do, but I think he was a good hire and it will pan out in time. Stanford, look, when you got to fire your coach in the middle of March, that's pretty rough. When you got to bring in a legendary quarterback like Andrew Luck to come be pretty much your GM and advocate for your program, it's pretty rough. I mean, it's great they've got him, right? And I think he's going to end up helping this program out a lot with his general manager duties, essentially. But Frank Wright coming in as an interim head coach, what's the motivation like for Stanford? What's the mindset like for Stanford? They don't have a lot of talent. They've got a lot of youth. They've got a lot of inexperience. They've got not an easy schedule. The Cardinals have had 4 straight 3-9 seasons. I think that streak comes to an end, but not in a good way. 1-11, 0-8. Their ceiling is 4-8, and that might even be pushing it for the Cardinal. So all that being said, that is our ACC recap. Those are the projected records. If you want more analysis on all of those teams, go watch those individual ACC videos, jam-packed with info, and again, we predict and give reasonings for every single game. Our ACC championship for 2025 is a rematch of last year's SMU versus Clemson. Gonna be a lot of fun. Cade Klubnik versus Kevin Jennings. This Clemson defense versus the SMU offense led by Rhett Lashley. Can the Clemson defensive line exploit that strong SMU offensive line? Just gonna be an absolute fun battle, just like it was last year when these two teams met and Clemson won as time expired. SMU battling back but falling just short. And it feels like the stakes are very similar again. I look at this, that the college football playoff is switching to a straight seeding model, so it's not like the winner of this is really battling for like a first-round bye or anything. Not that Clemson got it last year anyways. But you are battling for that automatic qualifying spot. And you can't help but wonder, you feel like at Clemson 11-1, if they lose this game, they're still getting in. If SMU loses this game and is 10-3, do the Mustangs still get in? That's the million-dollar question here, right? So that the stakes could be a little bit higher for SMU more than anything, and certainly looking to get revenge after last year's loss. And again, these two teams do meet in the regular season, by the way. But ultimately, I'm going to have to pick Clemson. I am that high on the Tigers. I love this team. I love Cade Klubnik. I love the weapons he's got. I think Dabo Swinney's put together a fantastic squad. This is an elite team. They shouldn't have even been in the ACC championship last year. They shouldn't have even gotten there. They owe Fran Brown a huge thank you. But they got there. They won it. They made the playoff. They played better against Texas than many people thought they would. Kind of entered the year with some momentum. Now, no one's sleeping on Clemson. Not that they have been, but no one's sleeping on Clemson. They are a true national title contender. I think they will beat SMU, take back-to-back ACC titles. The million-dollar question after that, Clemson's in. They're going to be a very high seed. What happens to the rest of the ACC? Does SMU get in? Does Miami have a case to get in at 10-2? They went 10-2 last year. Did not get in because their losses were to Georgia Tech and Syracuse, and they really didn't have a great strength of schedule. This year, the strength of schedule a little bit better, might have some more quality wins on their resume. Could you see 3 ACC teams get in, all with at least 10 wins? That is the million-dollar question, and that is a question we will answer here in just a few weeks when we bring you our official 12-team playoff predictions. But until then, Clemson, champions of the ACC. SMU, runner-up once again. The rest of the ACC, very deep, very competitive, despite what everyone may try to tell you. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, home to our weekly newsletters, tons of exclusive content there to help you get through this offseason. You do not want to miss out on it. Become a member of our GE Nation today. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.